Welcome to Shrimperscast with me, Paul Hill.
And me, Steve Mansfield. On today's show,
Takeover woes over as Martin really is out and Rees waves in a new era at Roots Hall.
Paul gets all excited about new beginnings and makes his predictions for the upcoming season.
We sit down with Joe from Shrimperstats to talk through Southend's new signings.
And we have the first Paul's previews of the new season with special guest Simon from the Same Old City podcast. Sorry, Paula.
What a banger.
What a banger. I've really missed that tune. Have you?
Same here. Yes, mate. Absolutely. Good to be back.
Well, I've not actually. I've been listening to it on repeat over the whole...
Oh, you missed it that much.
I missed it that much. I've had it on the whole pre-season, season downtime, just listening to that on repeat while everyone else is streaming Taylor Swift and getting her to the top of the charts.
Oh, yes.
I've been listening to the Shrimperscast theme tune. Paul, we're back.
We are.
Brand new season.
Yep.
How excited are you?
Very.
Good.
Cannot wait.
And before we get onto that,
Yeah.
how have you been?
Oh, well, yeah, it's been a bit hit and miss the whole summer. My eyeball exploded.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, my eye. It exploded near enough. So I got a little tear at the back of my eye, started filling up with blood, so I was getting all these funky floaters. So I went in and had a little operation to have that sealed and fixed up. And then as it was healing, my retina decided to detach and I lost 80% of my vision.
Bloody hell.
So I had a gas bubble fitted and I've had that in for nearly 5 weeks now while it's pushing the retina back on. And luckily it is working. So far so good. So I'll go back in a couple of weeks and then... I might have another further surgery, but I've got an eyeball of an 80-year-old, apparently, so I will be going blind, but hopefully not yet. Maybe I've got a few decades of eyesight left.
Of watching Southend.
Of watching Southend.
Rather than sitting there in the stands with the old earpiece. You know, it's always an option.
Always an option. Well, it's only one eye at the minute.
Okay.
So I can still see out my left.
I'm glad to hear it and glad to see that it's looking a bit, because you put some, I mean, I was feigning that I didn't know, because of course I knew, but I saw some photos where it was looking a little bit icky, but you're looking a bit more...
I looked like I'd taken a right good whack to the face, didn't I? Yeah, my eyeball was sticking out my head. But no, apart from that, it's all good. But which meant I couldn't fly, so I haven't been away anywhere. I haven't done anything. I've got to stop. I can't do any trampolining, parkour, flying, nothing like that. I've got to leave a boring life.
All those hobbies.
All my perfect, all those hobbies. Can't touch them. But apart from that, you just get on with it, don't you? But how's about yourself? How's your summer?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. Just got back from holiday last week, so had a bit of time away, which was lovely. Straight back into work though, and trying to fit podcasts in around all kinds of commitments.
Yes.
So here we go again.
Back at it.
Paul, let's get on with it. It's
Yeah.
been an eventful summer for Southend United.
Yes.
Last time we spoke, everything was still up in the air. We were still waiting for the council to kind of move things along. Ron's lenders were dragging their heels, making it difficult for the sale to go through. But we finally
got there.
We got the good news, didn't we? And Ron Martin is out. I go to Roscoe's Barbers opposite Waitrose in Lee, and he's got a Martin out hat on the side. And I said, you'll have to get rid of that now, mate, because Martin's out. So there'll be a lot of people discarding
his old hat.
His old hat, exactly. So the sale's gone through. Consortium now in full control. How are you feeling? As a lifelong shrimper, Paul, you must be
relief.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because he's been going on for so long, you just thought this is never going to happen. But you've got to take your hat off to Mr. Cowan up at the council for keeping it together. Really just like smashing it together, keeping people together, keeping everyone informed, thrashing through that new deal, bringing people to the table. And I'm glad it's worked out. I mean, there's still little bits to sort out, but the main thing is Ron's gone. COSU are in.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're signing players.
I know.
We've actually paid for a player. This is unreal. I didn't know what to do. When I saw undisclosed on the feet, I was like, wow. What does that even mean anymore? We don't know at Southend, do we?
Well, you've been saying for a while, haven't you, that you just want this over with so we can actually talk about football and talk about signing players. Going into the having a proper pre-season, which has obviously helped.
Which we nearly didn't have.
Yeah, we nearly didn't have. And it's just great news all round, isn't it? Great news all round.
100%.
So on that note, we've been promising for a long time that we're going to get Justin, Southend's new chairman, onto the show for a proper in-depth interview, and we're getting closer, aren't we?
Yeah, well, let's hope this doesn't take as long as the takeover did. So yeah, we're in negotiations with our new chairman, and hopefully we'll get it over the line.
We might have to get the council involved.
We'll have to leverage old Mr. Karen again, bring him to the table. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, we are trying to get Justin on, and we hope to have some news on that front sooner rather than later. So, Paul, brand new season.
Yep.
We're going to do a little bit of a talk through, a little bit of a preview. Like you said, we have signed some players. There's been 3 ins.
Yep.
There's been 3 outs as well of kind of permanent players. There's been some loans coming to an end as well.
Yeah.
But just generally speaking, what do you think to Southend's prospects this season? How excited are you? How positive are you? Where do you think the team are going to finish now that the shackles and the restraints have been relieved?
Well, my heart says we're going to win the league by 28 points. But no, I think looking at Josh Walker signing up, and we know he's a goal threat in this division, and he's had a great pre-season. Yeah, no, he certainly knows where the goal is. I think I would be disappointed if we're not in the top 3.
Yeah.
Looking at who's come down, who's in and around us, but some teams have been adding well to their squads. But when new teams come together, it doesn't always work out. There's some prolific players that have come up. We're playing York. I had a good chat with that Simon, and you've got Ollie Pearce who's come in, who's a goal machine for Worthing in the lower divisions. But can they do it?
Big step up
on a cold Tuesday night at Roots Hall in the National League,
or a warm Saturday afternoon.
There we are, indeed.
So obviously really, really exciting with the new signings. We're going to go in depth on those new signings with Joe from Shrimperstats. Big up to Joe for joining us. That'll be coming a little bit later in the show, just after this section. But you mentioned there, so automatic promotion is the target, you think?
Yeah. Well, why not? I mean, we kept the core of the squad. We've lost only a couple, haven't we, really? And done very well to keep the players that we've got. We've got that momentum going into next season. We were only 10 points, weren't we? Sorry, without that 10 points, we would have been, meaty playoff contenders there. So why not? Carry it on, crack on. As long as we can keep these people fit and firing on. We're getting great cover now. There's going to be competition for places. And, you look at the players we're bringing in as well.
Yeah.
Really good, young, hungry players. What is not to like? It's going to be a beast of a season. I cannot wait.
So, like I say, we're not going to go too in depth on the new signings that have come in. So we've had George Wind come in right back, Josh Walker come in as a striker, and Joe Gubbins come back as a centre back.
Yep.
And we're going to go into detail with Joe on those. But players have departed. So
they
3 permanent players. So David Martin.
Ipswich Town.
I know, Premier League.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah, great move for him. You can't begrudge that at all. But he obviously leaves a bit of a gap in the coaching setup as well, because he was a player coach. So that'll be interesting to see how that one's plugged. And then Fongook as well.
Ebbsfleet United.
Wes. I mean, I think he was a really good player. Good profile, like to kind of dribble with the ball and sort of carry it forward from midfield. So,
the thing is, I think he's been kind of let down there. They've gone, we'll make you the main man, and he's beating the round off. So, well, anyway, thanks for everything, Wes. But unlucky.
and Callum Powell, the final one. He just always a little bit unlucky. I thought,
and the injury didn't help, man.
Yeah.
And I feel for Bowley, really, because I thought he was great. He was a good player, and he's part of our history when we're against the ropes.
Yeah.
And when he did play, he was brilliant. And that injury really just, I think kind of killed him at Southend. But he's at Braintree now with Johnny White.
Yep.
So we wish him all the work. I mean, it's going to be great watching them all come back to Roots Hall, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But looking forward to it. But best of luck to them all.
Absolutely. Okay, so now after a brief break, we will be catching up with Joe of Shrimperstats.
Huzzah!
I am sat here with a very special returning guest to Shrimperscast, and I'd like to say a massive welcome to Joe of Shrimperstats. Welcome, Joe. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Thanks for having me back. And
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, we're really excited to chat to you ahead of the new season. How's your summer been? How's your kind of off season gone? You missing the football?
Yeah, missing it a lot. Yeah, really excited for the start of the season. Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of a break, but I think it's been quite a long off season. I think the season finished quite early on for us, so yeah, ready for it to start again now. How about you?
Ready to get back at it? Yeah, yeah, same, same. It's always like when the season ends, you're always like, oh, it's quite nice to not have it,
Yeah,
I guess, as a constant. And then the Euro starts, and then the
yeah,
Olympic. There's always something, isn't there? So you're always kind of watching something. So, but yeah, no, great to have you back. And what we're going to focus on today is, for the first time in a long time, being able to talk about Southend making some new
yeah.
signings, which is like a real treat. So yeah, thanks for coming on. And for those of you that didn't hear Joe's last appearance on Shrimperscast, and also don't necessarily follow what he does, Joe specialises in data and analytics and looking at football through a sort of numbers lens, I suppose, and trying to understand the game from the stats side. And Joe's blog, which we'll go into a bit more in detail in terms of the address and whatnot later on, but Joe's blog is all about, originally was all about Southend, and has now sort of branched out into focusing on other National League teams. So it's a really great resource if you're interested in sort of stats and tactics and things like that. So without further ado, Joe, we will get on to the list of new signings. So there's been 3 permanent signings come in over the summer.
Yep.
So we're going to start with a returner to Southend United. And he's a 22-year-old centre-back, signed as a free agent, I think, and it's Joe Gubbins. So, yeah, tell us your thoughts on Joe and how you think he's going to kind of fit in, or I suppose fit back
Yeah.
in to the squad.
Yeah, so as you say, obviously Joe Gubbins is returning, so a lot of people would have seen him play for us a few games a couple of years ago now, or 2 or 3 years ago. So he's a left-footed, left-sided centre back, where we obviously play our back three. I expect him to play on the left side of that. I don't think he'll be able to play in the middle of that three. I think we have other options there. So I expect
Yeah,
him to challenge Nathan Ralph for that left-sided spot. I really like this signing because he played a lot of games last year in League Two for Accrington, and obviously, I think if you're playing 30 odd games, you probably would expect your next move to be in that league at least. I think rather than have a drop
yeah,
down. So I was quite surprised he signed him, but very happy with it. Yeah, like he's going to know obviously the manager, coaches, some players as well, so he should be able to fit straight back in.
brilliant.
Yeah, so
So
yeah,
really
yeah, very
exciting.
exciting and good, really good sort of option to have there as well.
So assume the fact that he's kind of challenging the
Yeah,
captain for that position, most likely, probably not going to be an automatic starter if Ralph's fit. But we know last season, don't we, that he did struggle for fitness. So this is one of those kind of, I guess last season it was very bare bones, wasn't it? Bare bones
yeah,
FC. So, the fact that Southend have now got this kind of cover and also challenge to kind of to push the quality up, I
yeah,
suppose, seems like a good thing.
yeah, exactly. Like I think Kev would probably say that no one's a backup. Everyone's going to be challenging and putting pressure on the first team players to keep their place. But like you say, yeah, Ralph's captain, so it's going to be difficult to displace him. But I think also tactically, it will allow us to be a bit more flexible with, Ralph can play left wing back potentially.
Yeah,
So whereas last season where we had like no subs, we pretty much had to play the same formation every week, same players, which is fine, but it probably makes us a bit predictable to play against. But I think this
yeah,
signing to have someone of Gubbins' quality who can, he might be a backup, but if he plays, he can come in and either replace Ralph if he was injured or come into that spot, push Ralph up the pitch a bit. We can maybe change shape. So it allows us a bit of flexibility tactically and like you say, cover for injuries and challenging for that starting spot as well.
Amazing. So moving on to the second striker of the summer, from Burton Albion, which is my original. Well, I'm not from Burton, I'm from Derby, so not far away. And this is Josh Walker, striker, 26 years old, so kind of quite a good age. So tell us what you think of this signing and where you think he fits in into the team.
Yeah, so obviously as it plays up front, people would have seen him play a bit in pre-season. Walker seems to be quite a quick player, someone who's not the biggest, like he's not a target man, but he's probably quite able to drop a bit deeper into the midfield. He's got a good first touch. He's quite a technical player, so he'll be that player who can drop a bit deeper from up front. But because he's so quick, he can also run in behind. He'll be really good in transition or in counter attacks. He's quite a similar player to Cannon Powell, who obviously is now left. But I think when you sort of analyse their profiles, I think they're very, very similar players. And I think that like you look historically, Walker scored goals in this league. He obviously earned a move up to League One because he was, performing at this level. It didn't work out, to be fair, but it's a big jump. And I think this signing really, if you like, it's an upgrade. I think this is in terms of his efficiency in front of goal, which is what we were lacking, really. You look at the last couple of years where we've performed well and we create chances, but we haven't been that clinical. We've scored a number of goals, but if we want to get to the next level, we need to be more efficient in front of goal. And I think this signing really kind of epitomises that.
Yeah, and you did some analysis on his finishing, right? And it looks like, like you say, he's very efficient. He puts them away. He gets into the sort of right positions for the chances to be more, easier to score, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll mention my blog later on, but I wrote a big article about Walker once he signed and looking at similarities to Powell and, like you say, about the finishing as well. So all the kind of numbers, if you're into that, it kind of backs up what I was saying, really, just about efficiency in front of goal. Very excited to see him play like regularly, like in the proper season. Yeah. He's been scoring in pre-season as well, so which is what you want. So hopefully that will continue.
Hitting the ground running. So next signing and the last one so far is a young player from a local team, Billericay Town, 21-year-old George Wind, who's a right back by trade, and obviously Billericay kind of lower division, so probably not as much info or intel. But what do you know about George? Have you seen him play at all?
So this is the one who, I'm not going to lie, I don't know a lot about him. So there will be people listening to this who would have seen him play a lot more than me. Like you say, there's no data for Billericay's level, so it's difficult for me. All I've got is I've seen some videos of him. Obviously, he played a little bit at Chelmsford the other day in our last friendly, so I saw him play there. But from what I've seen of him, he seems a very similar player to Gus. He's obviously a right back, but he'll play right wing back for us. Seems to be really athletic, gets up and down the pitch, can contribute in at both ends of the pitch, if you like. And because he's so young as well, it's a 2 or 3 year contract, so he'll be like Gubbins, where he'll provide competition now, and I think he's a good player now, but you probably wouldn't expect him to play that regularly to begin with. But because he's young, he's going to get a lot better and a lot of potential there. So he's almost a ready-made, not a replacement because we don't want to lose Gus, but he's a similar player. So.
I mean,
Yeah,
Football's cutthroat, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, 1 minute you're player of the season, the next minute you're on your way somewhere else because the money's come in. So I guess it's back to that kind of cover plus competition. It's just win-win. And again, kind of going back to the bad old days of, you know, literally no
Yeah.
cover, no subs. You know, if someone gets injured, it's putting people square pegs in round holes and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it must feel for sort of you diehard Southend fans, you know, it must feel like a luxury to sort of have cover and have backup and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And the other thing is potentially very good business as well, because the age they're at, if like you say they do improve, then the value goes up, especially if, you know, Southend do climb up, which is on the cards hopefully. So all good stuff. So that's the 3 signings that have come in. However, I saw you put out a tweet the other day, which I wanted to pick your brains on, and you in that tweet you hinted that you don't think Kev's business is yet done, or that you've identified some positions that you think we could do with strengthening in. So I wanted to talk through those. There's 3 positions. You've got a goalkeeper, you've got sort of number 8 midfielder, and you've got a number 9 in that list. So let's start with goalkeeper. It's a pretty obvious one, but what's your thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, those 3 positions, I think pretty much everyone would be in agreement with those areas. I don't think it's that sort of insightful, but I think they're the 3 areas that we're lacking. Obviously, the goalie to start with, like we're lacking there. We obviously have Colin, who's like, I think since he come back from injury, Christmas time,
Brilliant.
he's been like, it was amazing. So that second half of the season is, I think he's one of the very best in the league now. But obviously we do only have one senior keeper, so we need another one.
And David Martin's got a big move, right?
Yeah, so he's Premier League now, right?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, fair play. I think it was good.
I'm a Derby fan,
Right.
and we had Scott Carson and we sold him to Man City, and he's not played a single game. You know, it's that sort of thing where you're like, what? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I think we was really lucky to have someone who's as experienced as him in that sort of player coach role, where he could cover Colin if he got injured, but he was doing the coaching and doing a really good job there. So it's a big loss, but I don't know if they'll get someone in who does the same role as a player coach, or if they just want to go with a normal player and a separate coach. But yeah, we definitely need a backup keeper, whether that's a younger player or an experienced one. I don't know, but as we touched on before, like you just want competition in every position, really. So definitely goalkeepers no different. So definitely needs another one.
And the number 8 position.
Yeah, so obviously we lost Wes in pre-season. He's gone to Ebbsfleet. I think we're okay in midfield, like, certainly like to start the season. But I think when you look at the number 8s we have, so you've got Noor, Ollie Coker, James Moulton. They're all quite similar. They want to pass the ball, which is great, but we don't have anyone who's going to get the ball and really dribble up defences and carry the ball forwards to that level that Wes did it. So I think there's just differences in their profiles, and I think when you lose a player, you want to replace them with a similar player. So I think that sort of number 8, not really an attacking. We don't play a number 10, so we don't want a proper attacking midfielder like that. They need to be able to play as a number 8 in a midfield 3, but they need to be more of a final third player, a bit more creative, maybe can get a few goals. And I think ideally someone who can run at defences, just to be a bit different,
Just join the attack.
Yeah.
So we've got the kind of hold-in or the sit-in kind of midfielders, like you say, they sort of like to keep the ball, recycle it, and that. And actually that's kind of is the basis of a lot of the football that Southend play and is needed. But you do need that other option, don't you, to kind of do something different on the ball.
And I think it's very kind of boring when you say that you just got to pass it sideways. And I know people get annoyed by that, but that's part of the game. You need players who can do that.
Yeah.
So
I love
yeah,
it. Don't worry, I love
mean,
it.
you don't want. Obviously, if you're only doing that, then there's a problem. You need to have different players who can do different things, but it's a very important part of it. But I think, especially when we lose Wes, when we lose someone who is a bit different, we need to replace him with a similar profile. But obviously, when you lose someone, you want to get someone a bit better. So if there's an upgrade,
Exactly.
then we should try to do that.
And the final one, and I said number 9, but I'm going to go a bit into more detail because I think you said like a big man, like a target man, number 9. And I guess that's because of the existing strike force that Southend have got.
Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, with Walker, he's very efficient in front of goal. So, to be honest, I think we need another striker. I'm not completely fixated on having a target man. I think as long as they're clinical in front of goal, that's the main thing. And I know it's kind of basic to say you want a striker who scores goals. Obviously, everyone wants that, but that is basically where we're lacking. When I look at what we have in the building already up front, I would prefer a target man because you've got Walker, you've got Jack Woods who can play up front. They're the more smaller second strikers, if you like, who can maybe drop deeper. Then we have Carswell, obviously, as a target man. And then we've got Waldron, who is sort of a target man as well. I think that the issue is if Carswell were to get injured, the next sort of backup, if you like, would be Waldron. And it's just not as experienced and as proven as Carswell. So he's in that role. So we've covered that profile, if you like. But I just think if we had someone a bit more proven who would take a bit of pressure off of Waldron as well, it could help. But what you don't want, if we got a target man, what you don't want is them to be quite slow and quite old school target man. You want them to be like Carswell, who's he's big. He's
basically
a big
can
lad,
do it
but he
all.
can do everything. He can run in behind. He can press.
Yeah.
It's important to fit in with how we play. But I think bottom line is up front, and it needs to be able to score goals. As simple as it sounds.
Just more bodies as well, isn't it?
More bodies,
more bodies
rotation,
as well.
stuff like that. So, but definitely another one up front, 100%.
Yeah, to give Cardwell a rest at sort of 70 or 80 minutes occasionally, which is again another luxury that wasn't often available last season. So brilliant stuff, Joe. Thanks so much, mate. I'm just going to read out and kind of give you a little plug. So for everyone listening, if you don't already follow Joe, he's on socials, mainly on X or what I still call Twitter, as at Shrimperstats. And Joe also has a blog over at shrimperstats.data.blog. And that's where there's all sorts of really in-depth information about Southend United, their players, and also loads of other teams in the National League, kind of going through, aren't you, like all the different teams and kind of analysing how they play and their managers and, all that sort of stuff. So really good content. So, yeah, that's it really from us. And just want to say a massive thanks again to you, Joe, for joining today. And keep up the good work, mate.
No, thanks for having me back anytime. Look forward to this season.
We'll definitely have you back on. Yeah, maybe at the close of the transfer window.
Yeah.
Nice one. All right, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Massive thanks there to Joe from Shrimperstats for joining us. And just to plug him, his online presence, he is at Shrimperstats on the socials. So Shrimper, no S, Shrimperstats. He's all over X and Twitter, and also his blog, his main blog, which Paul's a bit of a fan of, but his blog can be found at shrimperstats.data.blog. And Paul, you like reading his stuff, don't you?
Mate, it's quality. Absolutely quality. I mean, he's covering the whole of the division now.
Yeah.
But it's only a matter of time, mate. He goes into such depth and detail. If I was in the Championship, Premier League, looking for someone who can help me out with the opposition or going on a bit of a fact finder for a new player, he'll be the man. It wouldn't surprise me at all if someone snaps him up. But I like reading his stuff because then I can look at the players, go on Champman or what's it called, Football Manager now, and see if I can find any gems. But yeah, no, he's an absolute, what a legend. Thank you very much, mate. Top work.
Cheers, Joe. Right, we'll be back after a short break. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've been waiting with bated breath over the holiday period since the season ended for this moment. It's time for everyone's favourite part of the show.
Paul's previews.
Paul, it's a special one today, isn't it? It's something we've been trying to, or maybe trying's the wrong word, thinking about trying to get this sort of thing off the ground for a while. And we've got our very first fellow National League podcast guest onto the show to preview the opening fixture of the season against York City this Saturday the 10th. Paul, talk us through it. You met up with Simon from Same Old City podcast.
Yes, yeah, we had a little chat with him about what's coming on Saturday. It was great to talk to him, really, because, there are quite a few podcasts in this division. So it was great to kind of, have a little chinwag with our, is it colleagues, would you say that? I don't know.
Yeah. Peers.
Peers. Our rival podders. But anyway, yeah, it was great to have a little chat with him and listen to what's going on at York City. Of course, I've got a bit of a soft spot for York because of while we were going through our troubles, the support that they gave us, especially the chairman as well, matching the donations, and because they've been through similar stuff with us, so it was we have that affinity. So it was good to sit there and listen to the new signings that they've brought in, and obviously talk about the game coming up on Saturday, and hope. Well, he can't make it, but I'm going to go up there in York because I've managed to twist the wife's arm. You see,
yeah.
I said I found a lovely Christmas market up in York. Just happens to be when Southend are playing there. So you go to the market, darling. I'm off to the LNER Stadium to watch a bit of football.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Paul. And without further ado, let's hit up Paul's previews with Simon from Same Old City podcast.
Wallop. Yes, and I am joined by Simon from Same Old City podcast, the York City podcast. How are we doing, Simon?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, looking forward to the season getting started. How about yourself?
Yeah, brilliant. Can't wait either. We've, just like yourselves, been signing lots of great players. Looking forward to a fantastic season ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be pleased to be able to sign players now. And we've signed a few ourselves as well. So, it should be interesting.
Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good for both of us. So how has the summer been for York City?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a strange one because last summer was a bit of a car crash, really, in terms of our recruitment. We had a new owner come in and we signed all kinds of players. Sort of, we don't know whether it was the owner or the recruitment team, but they got hung out to dry by agents, really. And we ended up saddled with this enormous squad, half of whom were no good and were sometimes on 2 or 3 year contracts. So big part of this summer has just been terminating a lot of those contracts and having to pay those players off to make room to bring some players in. But we've managed to do that. And so we have brought a few players in, and this time it's definitely the manager calling the shots on those. So it's Adam Hinchelwood came in sort of towards the end of last season, just about managed to keep us up. And he has mostly been bringing in players that he's worked with before at Worthing, where he was manager for a few years. So we've got, in particular, Ollie Pearce up front, who scored kind of a crazy number of goals for Worthing. He got, I think, 46 last season, and a fair amount in the couple of seasons before. So we're hoping he can make the step up to full-time football, and maybe not quite get that many, but half that many would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, Joe Felix, also a fullback from Worthing. He's only 5'2", but the fans are kind of taken to him already. He's quite a dynamic player up and down the flanks. Got Harrison Mayle in goal, who was at Dorking last season, but had been at Worthing before. One of the smaller keepers, so your fans might notice that when he comes out. He's definitely shorter than 6 foot, but he's very much fits into the kind of playing out from the back style that we're trying to bring in. So yeah, there's some exciting signings, but we're still not exactly sure how it's going to pan out and how solid the defence will be.
Well, I remember the goalie, Neil, when Dorking came down, and he reminded me of an ex-goalkeeper of ours, Daryl Flahaven, very agile and could get across the goal quite quick. Because had it not been for him, I think we might have done them 4 or 5-0, to be honest.
Yeah, well, he kept a clean sheet for them when they came to our place as well. And yeah, definitely comes with good reviews from his previous clubs. So we're hoping he's going to be solid one between the sticks, because we had a bit of trouble there last season.
So what was the expectations for York City and your supporters for the upcoming season?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because we obviously only scraped survival really last season by a point or two, after having sort of reasonably high expectations with bringing a lot of new players in. So everyone's a little bit wary of being too optimistic this time. But having said that, with some of the players we've brought in, with how we played towards the last few games of the season, we beat some of the higher teams in the league and we were starting to play quite well. I think people are looking up the table rather than down this season. I think hoping for, at worst, a kind of mid-table top-half finish, but secretly I think everyone's thinking, maybe we can make a playoff push. So, yeah, somewhere, I don't think we're going to be fighting right at the top of the league, because it's difficult to, go from relegation contenders to title winners in a season. But we certainly want to be, in the hunt for the playoffs.
I think you might get... Yeah, I think you'd be up there. I've got a soft spot for York City because obviously when we were going through our troubles, the support that your fans and even your chairman showed our football club has never been forgotten. And him matching donations and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through it ourselves, so the fans all kind of know and remember the clubs that, stuck by us as well in tough times. So, but yeah, hopefully that's all sorted now.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're going to do well, but hopefully after this game with us on. So, is there any players we should be looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Ollie Pearce, obviously, and his kind of prolific goal scoring. We've got another exciting striker, Dipo Akinyemi, who was there last season. He looked really good in patches, but had a bit of injury trouble and some kind of dips in form. But on his day, he's definitely one of the best strikers in this division. I mean, he's big, powerful, but he's also skillful, can score all kinds of goals. So, yeah, he's definitely one to be wary of. And I'd probably mention Tyrese Sinclair as well, who we've signed from Rochdale, who's a winger. And yeah, he's sort of been our most impressive player in pre-season, I think. He scored a couple of really decent goals and seems pretty quick. So that's something we were missing last season was pacey wingers. So hopefully he's going to fill that particular hole.
Excellent.
Yeah. Otherwise, not sure exactly how we're going to line up. But yeah, we may well end up with people playing out of position at centre-back. So if you've got some tall guys up front, then you might be able to give us a bit of bother, because Hinchelwood was quite fond of playing our full-back Ryan Fallowfield at centre-back, and he's only about 5'9". So yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, we most definitely will. Could be a good game, this.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's going to be your prediction for the game? Is it Saturday? Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah. So obviously, it's always tough to predict the first game of the season when you've only got pre-season to go on, and it's difficult making a long trip away first game of the season. But yeah, I mean, I can defer to my colleague Ben from Same Old City, who he made some spookily accurate predictions last season, actually, about where we were going to finish and so on. Now, he's gone for a 2-2 draw. And, yeah, basically because we're pretty good going forward, but we're possibly a bit shaky at the back. So I'll go along with his prediction there. I think we'll score, but I think we'll concede. And 2-2 doesn't sound unreasonable.
Yeah, that's it. I'll go with 2-2. Yeah, because you did the double over us last season, didn't you? So we'll draw here, and then we'll have a good game back up in York. In the new year.
Still don't quite know how we did the double over you, given how bad we were. But you did have 9 men in the first game, so that probably helped us.
Oh yes.
But I think most City fans would be content with a point out of this one.
I remember it's the 90th minute winner, I think, when you came back to us. It was
Yeah, I think it was. We had a few games when Neil Ardley was manager where we kind of managed to grind out a win. Just really dogged defence. I think we had a pretty amazing clearance off the line as well. And then, just sneak a goal at the end. So, we'd take that again. But we're definitely playing a different style of football now. So,
well, it's going to be exciting, whatever happens. And we're really looking forward to it. So, will you be coming down the hall on Saturday?
Unfortunately not. No, I'm on holiday with my family in Northumberland, so I'm going in the other direction. But I know there'll be plenty of travelling City fans who I'm sure will get a warm welcome at Southend.
Oh, definitely. Well, without a doubt. Yeah,
and I'll be following along on Radio York, possibly, or at least on social media while I'm out, on a beach or looking around a castle or something like
that. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Simon, for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
No, thanks for having me on.
No worries. I'll catch up with you when I come up to York.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and best of luck for the rest of the season, and obviously, with the podcast as well.
Yeah, and you, Simon. Great stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
See ya.
Massive thanks again to Simon there from Same Old City Podcast. As usual, get them on the socials, give them a little follow.
Yep.
Massive thanks for giving us your time. If you happen to run another podcast and you're listening out there and you run a podcast for another National League team, hit us up too, because we'd love to have more guests of a similar ilk on to preview the games as they come thick and fast in the National League. So, Paul, you said 2-2 there. You sticking with that?
Sorry, Simon. No, I'm not. I think after having a little think back, I reckon, considering York City have only beaten us at home 3 times in 24 years, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to say 3-2 Southend. We're going to hit a 93rd minute winner.
Nice.
There we go. So, I'm going 3-2 Southend.
I mean, I was thinking, you're ever the optimist, aren't you? And a 2-2 on the opening day of the season when you're this hyped up ready was really out of character. I thought you changed your personality over the summer. I thought that eye injury had really got to you and you were, depressed and miserable. That's but it. No, a win, then you fancy this Saturday?
I fancy this one, yeah. I think for Roots Hall, takeover complete, start the season with a win.
Season tickets flying out.
Have you seen how many this sold?
Yeah, lots of people will be at the game. Atmosphere will be good. Sadly, I can't make it, but you're going down, aren't you?
I am.
So.
Well, we've got the tickets now.
Yeah, we've got the tickets. Got the old
Did you
tickets.
Get a shirt?
Not yet. They sold out, didn't they? I'll have to wait for the restock.
I went down the day after because I saw they were flying out.
Yeah.
Right, and I managed to get in there and I managed to pick up an XL home and away. And then there was only a couple of large left, and I managed to get, I've got to apologise to my wife for this one because I only went out. It's one of those ones, when you go out for a bag of sugar and you come home with a lawnmower? It was one of them. So I bought a shirt for each and every member of my family. So, but yes, it's great to see everybody digging deep, supporting Southend, buying the shirts, buying the season tickets, and it's just all shaping up to be a fantastic season, isn't it?
It really is. So fingers crossed. So all that's left to say is massive thank you to our guests today. So that's Joe from Shrimperstats. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And Simon from Same Old City Podcast, York City Podcast.
Legend.
And big thanks to you, Paul, for joining me.
Always a pleasure, never a chore, sir.
And I've missed that as well. And a massive thank you, finally, to all of you out there listening. And we will be back next week to find out what happened at York and do more previews. And as I said at the start, we're really trying to get Justin onto the show. Justin, if you're listening, come on, mate. Let's get it in the diary. Massive, massive thank you to all of you out there, and up the Blues.
Up the Blues.